Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another online session, our VOC Matric revision program, taking place on Facebook as well as on YouTube. And you're welcome to catch us live or go back to the programs as they remain on the channels. My name is Muhammad Fasih Peterson. Today I am once again joined by Muslima Ismail, a tutor, and we will be focusing for this session on Afrikaans as we proceed to continue looking at the languages. And in the next session, I will also have Muslima with me when we will be focusing on English, inshallah. But for now, a savor Afrikaans. That's what we're going to be speaking for the next while. And joining me, as mentioned, is Muslima Ismail. Muslima, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته حسيح.
Shukran so much for joining us. And I think
Math, there was just a lag in it quickly.
on the
So I didn't
Facebook.
hear
Not a
the
problem.
end
Not a
part
problem.
of what you said.
Not a problem. Well, basically, I was just saying that people can comment on the Facebook. They can comment on the YouTube as well. And if they would like to get any detail, we'll try and get that information to them at the end of this broadcast. But without further delay, I hand over to you, Fighter Fadlan.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh once again. We are now going to start with the second part of Vraestel 1, and that is opsomming. So in opsommings, there are three important aspects. So we call this a focus. So essentially, you get maybe three different types or more different types of reading. So the important one in this particular section of the exam or the paper will be suklius. So for a opsomming, you have a particular question. So whether it is that they ask you about your life or they ask you about whatever it may be, you get different types of reading for that. So in this one, we're going to focus on suklius. So in the time that you're reading your text, so you're going to do the entire reading of the text that they give you there, and then you're going to do suklius. So suklius is basically reading through a text and underlining or identifying kerngedagtes. So kerngedagtes are the important points in the text that you are trying to identify in connection to the question. So if the question is asking you for tips on something, you'll identify the tips. So kerngedagtes are important because throughout the paper there will be different points. And also, one of the important things in this is that when you're doing opsommings, you get 7 plus 3 marks. 3 marks are for taalgebruik, and 7 punte are for the structure and the points that you make. You have two options. You can either do it in a paragraph form or you can do it in 7 points. So in this part, it leads on to the next segment of papers as well, which is taalgebruik. So taalgebruik is woordgebruik en woordstrukture en verskillende woordvorms. So antonieme, synonieme, then also correcte vorm van woorde uitdrukking. And then when you do this, you add different words that are connected to what you are speaking about that is not in the text. So those 3 marks come from this. So that is very important. And then also onderstreping is important perhaps with a pencil, or if you can't do it with a pencil, just make notes in your draft. In your draft, um, write specifically on top of the paper beplanning, because if the marker is not going to see beplanning there, they're going to mark your first attempt. They're going to mark whatever is there. So if you write beplanning over there, then they'll know, okay, you're still busy, and then afterwards you go, and then that will be your final draft. So always write beplanning there, so that they can know. That's very important, because otherwise you might lose unnecessary marks as well. So I'm gonna start immediately with voorbeelde. So this is taken out of a past paper, one of the past papers, and it's about olifant jou reis dier. So it's a very long text. I don't think there's enough time to read through this entire text to carry on to the next points that I have to make. However, if we go right to the end, just to show you what I was talking about, is the question. So in this section, the most important part of this is the question. So ja, they show lees die teks hieronder en maak 'n opsomming van 7 voorbeelde van olifantgedrag wat die skrywer waargeneem het. So in these questions, it's generally structured in this way. So it will always be 7 voorbeelde. So or 7 punte, either 7 voorbeelde of 7 punte, 7 wenke. So punte is points, and then wenke is like tips. It will always be one of those van olifantgedrag wat die skrywer waargeneem het. So that is very important to understand the question. So even if you have to write it down now and say, okay, so I know what these words mean, so I can understand the question at least. Then also volsinne gebruik is very important. And one thing to always remember is that half the answer is in the question. But for opsomming, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. You have to sort of formulate your own sentences when you do this. So it can either be 7 voorbeelde in puntvorm. So puntvorm is when you have like 1 in a sin, 2 in a sin, 3 in a sin below each other, like that. Or paragraph form, where you just write it in one whole paragraph next to each other. And nie meer as 90 words. Yes. So the word count, if it says voorbeelde, don't give wenke, don't give punte necessarily. Always check what it is that the answer is asking for, because if you give something that's completely different, then it might not even make sense. Sometimes you might be lucky, but not always. And then jy moet een samehangende paragraaf skryf. So samehangende is opeenvolgende sinne in a paragraph. So that is when the sentence follow on each other. So it's not just, one sentence and I end in the middle of the line and then start on a new line. It's not like that. So it's opeenvolgend. And then dit is nie nodig om vir die opsomming 'n titel te gee nie. Okay, so these are just general specifications for this opsomming specifically. En dui die getal woorde aan wat jy vir die opsomming gebruik het. Right. So now we did the opsomming, right? So for this section of language, I can give tips and I can give points and I can help understand what the question is asking and what the question is saying. But most of the work, or almost all of the work, is definitely going to have to come from the student. So fortunately, there are many past papers to practice from and so on. And then there's another thing that I also have, which is called a taalwoordeboek. So a taalwoordeboek is something that I have, and like it looks like this. So I'm sure at the end of the session, then anyone can email me or contact me to get this. So it has a whole it's a compilation of different past papers, different activities, and different also examples to help you before exams. So it makes you understand woordgebruik and woordstructure. So for example, I'll read the sentence incorrectly, and then I'll read it correctly afterwards. So die bus waarin die dames ry is baie oud. And then they will ask in taalgebruik, they will ask gee een woord vir baie oud. So then you say stok oud. So now a common mistake that students make sometimes is saying either baie, dik, or frik. So when you get warm, then everyone is just saying frik warm. But it's actually vier warm. So this work booklet will definitely help you with all of the answers for that. And then also it is corrective word as well. So for example, if they say die busbestuurder hang uit by of aan, so you choose is it uit, is it by of aan. So die busbestuurder hang uit by of aan die venster uit. So is by die venster uit. Then dit gaan reën. So you also get koppeltekens in Afrikaans. So sometimes this is very important to not leave out, because if you leave those koppeltekens, it will be completely different, right? So it's reën and reën also, but then the koppeltekens on there, right? And then also with synonieme en antonieme. So antoniem is teenoorgestelde and synoniem is dieselfde. So synonym is because it is similar, and then antonym is because it is you get the word that says anti. So if you hear antonym or antonym, you just remember anti. So that means that it is anti that, which means opposite that. And then synonym is like dieselfde. It's just both of the S. There's not really much similarity in the two words. And just a few more examples from this booklet that I have as well. I do not have electronic copies, unfortunately. I only have the hard copies, so you can still contact me for that. So if we go through a section, it says here, 'n kind word dom as hy of sy TV in die slaapkamer het. And then they ask you to gee die antoniem van dom. So because I said antonym sounds like anti, so the teenoorgestelde van dom is slim. So the sentence will actually read, 'n kind word slim as hy of sy 'n TV in die slaapkamer het. But these texts are not necessarily true. It's just to practice your woordgebruik and taal and so on. And also one point in taalgebruik as well is trappe van vergelyking. So trappe van vergelijken can sometimes be a bit tricky or a bit challenging for some people, especially if you are not used to doing these things in in your daily life. So the important thing is you watch either series or you watch things on YouTube. There's a lot of shows. Watch it in Afrikaans, or you can also do subtitles. So you put the subtitles in Afrikaans, but then you read the subtitles while the English is playing in the background. So it's like while you're reading, you're getting an automatic translation. And for trappe van vergelijken as well, you get different kind of, how do I say, different kind of words that end in letters. So lettergebruik is very important in trappe van vergelijking. For example, if something ends in a G, so you have sag, then you will have sagter and sagste, not sagger and saggere like we usually speak in Kaitan. You just add at the end and then okay, trappe van vergelijking. Voilà. But in these examples, you always have to pay attention to that. And for work also ends in a G. But when you say the trappe van vergelijking, you say hoog then hoor. So then you put the koppeltekens on there, and then hoogste will still be exactly the same like sag. You add the letters on the end. So perhaps I will be able to make this available. If anyone wants to contact me or needs it just to practice before exams, and it will definitely help. It also has samenstellings. So samenstellings is two words that are put together. So it is compound words in English, right? So for example, if you want to say dorp in school, a school and a dorp, and then you will say dorp school, one word, finish. And then or seun school, slaapkamer, you make it one. So these are samenstellings. And then idiomatische uitdrukkings. It's also a so for every language you have this part that is more poetic, and if you don't speak the language it'll be very difficult for you. So for example, if I say jy hou van jou rieme styf loop. So now you just gonna look at me and think like, what are you saying? But it actually means that you like getting into trouble. Or the puppet dance. That's a very common one. That is when there's trouble starting or beginning. But I think that the most important thing for especially paper one, all three papers though, is practice. And the only way that you're going to do well and the way that you're going to really excel is with practice. So I try to make it as easy as possible because it is another language, and some people have it as third or fourth language. Um, Afrikaans is fun, but it can be difficult for people who aren't used to it. So I do understand that. So if you do really want the Talver book, you can contact me, and then I will make it available to you, inshallah.
And so I take it that we are concluded on this session. Of course, if you would like to get a little bit more details, around today's list. Welcome to contact Muslima. Once again, Muslima, that email if people would want to find out more or get a little bit more info around today's session.
Oh, yes, it is. I actually did not put the email up. It is just ismailmuslima@gmail.com. I'm sure it can be added to the description in the video, inshallah.
Inshallah.
But I also
Inshallah.
think that the Talvat book will help a lot because it's always 20% that comes from a teacher or a tutor, but 80% comes from the student. And with language, the only way to get this to practice.
Fantastic. So that's Ismail Muslima, IsmailMuslimah at gmail.com. Muslima Ismail. Muslima Ismail, and that is if you would like some more detail or some notes on today's session. And if you've just come in at this part of the stream, these recordings will be made up on YouTube and Facebook. Please do like and share far and wide so everyone else can benefit from it as well. Muslima, once again, a big shukran to you, and wassalamu alaikum.
Afwan wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Well, that's been our session for Afrikaans, and we're going to be in the next session. We'll be back with Muslima, and she'll be talking English with us. Stay with us. And of course, don't forget that for the duration of this period, heading up to exams, we will be having these sessions, and you can go back. If you've missed any of the other sessions, you can go back and check them out. They're there for posterity, for the foreseeable future on our YouTube and our Facebook channels. Shukran so much once again for tuning in.